Hello and welcome to Goa 365. You're joining us here where the Serendipity Arts Festival has just begun and various projects and curations have been put forth, and we have many artists who will be displaying their artwork here. And today with us we have a son of the soil, an artist, DiptejVernekar, who has been curating a very interesting and a very insightful kind of project. So we'll talk to him today and find out what was his purpose, his intention and his aim with this project. Diptej, thank you for taking the time and talking with us today. So tell us what this project is and what should someone expect from it.
Yeah, this project is about cultural tableaus and the Narkasur, what we see in Goa, and I've been always fascinated with the idea of how these things move and how these things are created, and technology of street side technology and local technology involved in it, and how different occupations of local artisans and innovators are involved in making this. And the major part which I am very fascinated is how these things are made to move, give access to the people, which is mostly very gendered space where only men has access to it. They can move, and when I was I used to stay in Talegaon and I used to go for runs, and I used to see these public spaces, public outdoor gym where kids and women used to have their evening time where they used to exercise. In outdoor. Which was very, and that's what they integrated, and it was very similar actually. How police of this cultural tableaus works and how police of gym works, and somewhere it connected the dots. I felt, and why not to just dabble with these two ideas and bring it together, and somehow it developed from that to I think that with that juncture.
Yeah.
I think.
So, but now, like when someone comes, like when you see this installation right here, so what exactly were you trying to portray with this installation exactly?
Basically, when I do my practice, like in my studio practice, I don't want to like I don't want to make it very specific.
Yeah,
you know, I'm interested in ambiguous meanings of work. Right now, even though if I wanted to give some meaning to it, when it comes to public domain, they are not with fixed meaning, I feel, because everybody has their own imagination to interpret it, and I think by doing that I'll kill that part of imagination. And
but is that basically what art is to you? Like, is it something that is left for interpretation to the public? It's not supposed to be something that is explained to the public?
Yeah, I most of the time, and I think majorly I work on that basis. I'm interested in ambiguity of meanings.
Okay. Now let's get to know you a little bit better. So how and when did this entire artistic journey of yours begin, and how was it in the initial days?
I was conditioned to be to see these things in my local village, Kumbarzwa, where things were happening and I was inspired. Or maybe my upbringing was very local and my father was carpenter, so he was inclined towards arts. So he used to encourage me, even my mother, and I used to see this from very childhood. Though at later point parents did not wanted me to pursue the fine arts. How Indian parents work.
No, so how did you get around that? Because normally, like when someone says like I'm going to explore like art, and
I was really mad at it, man. Even when my school exams were happening, one thing which was actually triggered me. Even if there was rain during exams, I was worried about these figures might get affected with the rain. That's my that crazy I was for this Shigmotsav. Even for entering into fine art, I didn't know what all things are happening in fine art, but my major aim was to get admission and be artist, just to make things like these things. But then later on things changed, right, over the period. So, and that's what I think.
But then was it ever like an where you had a contradiction to yourself, like if I pursue this, it may not really initially entail a lot of financial gains, or like it's sometimes generally like when you pursue a career off track, like apart from like the mainstream one. Like,
I know what you're talking about.
And did you what was your thinking process behind it?
I think somebody needs to be very crazy enough, apart from practicality of life and paying your bills. I think if you end up thinking of that at initial stage where you learn about skills and conceptual knowledge, you limit yourself. I think that enough of it's difficult to say that, but I had enough of freedom, I think, being a male person, a boy or girl, because I don't know about girls, but at least being a man, I had that freedom of freedom. Yeah.
So then after your, you joined fine arts, and like how was that journey? Like, finally you got to like formally get an education in something that's related to the thing you like. So how was that experience?
Yeah, so the thing is, like, my initial skill learning was happening in from my 15 years to 18 years through this art form. So I intentionally chose not to do sculpting because I've been doing it anyways from these sources, and I wanted to improve my drawing first of all. So I chose to paint figures, like portraiture. My specialization was portraiture. I did not do sculpture. So but later when I went for my masters, I thought like I was very addicted to paint figures, because every meaning, whenever you wanted to express, you want figures, the help of figures, which I stopped doing that and started going back to my roots, which was this, and started introducing mechanism and physics in my conceptual work.
Okay. Yeah. So when you take on a project like you have, like for Serendipity, this is your first time for a public project, or have you done something before?
Public, as in commission project, I have done. Okay. I think for Serendipity. No, this is my second, I guess. Yeah. Okay. For Serendipity, I have done one more, which was in Barge in 2018, 17.
Okay. So this is your second time.
Second time. Yeah.
So how exactly is the whole starting? Excuse me. Yeah. This whole process of like from inception to finalization, like how do you go about it?
So this project, it's not that this is the first where it started. I've been researching on this archiving of this cultural stuff of Narkasur making and all that, and parallel it is in a way a parallel education, art education. So I'm also working on researching on that. So this is like one of the catalyst project which I've made it in practical. Yeah.
No, but like do you like normally just sit in like when you brainstorm the idea, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get around the brainstorming? Because that is one of the main concepts of forming an idea, right? An artistic project. Like you think.
But this, I was not like I have to give projects, so let's just brainstorm. It was not like that. Okay. Instead, it was reverse. Like I have been working in this area. One of the project triggered me. So it may be a coincidental, or maybe to be on right time at the right place. The time was proper, and this idea was dabbling in it. In fact, I did one public project. So in December, to do with the 5th season, which is elections. So I did this another project which I was thinking to propose for this, but then I cancelled it and I thought of this actually.
Okay, we'll take a short break and we'll come back again. Yeah. So please stay tuned. Welcome back. You're joining us here with DiptejVernekar, and we are here at the Serendipity Art Festival. And talking about the whole artistic process and how you go about in processing it, what about the mental block that an artist faces? So like when you're doing something creative, there are certain times that like a reader or a writer normally has a mental block where they cannot process anymore, and you need to find ways to get around it. So how do you get around your maybe when you have an artistic block?
So in that case, I may not say my mental block. Yeah, you sometimes feel, most of the time I feel that I'm repeating stuff. I can't deal with that situation. Once I feel it's repeating, I get bored out of it. So I need to change things. So for that, I change from medium. So if either I do charcoal, sometimes I do video, sometimes cultural stuff. So it somewhat allows me to just see it from distance objectively. So that helps me to change my mental block at the same time and change my pattern of thinking. Or you allow yourself to be in a challenging position, or maybe in a situation where you can't deal with. Like for example, one of the projects which I did in the Serendipity in 17, it was to do with bars. It was in bars where I have to create some installation. That was just brief, and the title of the whole programming of curation was Ground Beneath My Feet. So it is talking about where are you standing on actually. So the initial project which I gave and everything was going well. When I went and see the barge, it totally changed, and it was something which I was trying to force my ideas, imposing ideas in the project, which is what sight gives you back. When you go somewhere, for example, you go somewhere, you think of, you have preconception of something, and when you go there and you have a different change in your mind, right? The same thing happened, and the whole project changed with the response with the people there, because human beings are such like that. They somewhere challenges you, influence you, and tries to think like, because they are not passive, right? First of all, and they somewhere will stimulate something in you. So that's what made, and the whole project became stories of these people, like what is the life on a barge where it has lost its existence since mining is not there. I'm not supporting mining, but I'm just going into the life of a person who is just guarding the ship. And what does it mean to guard a ship where you have to follow the same drill? Because ship can't sustain without the wheels if the barge are not moving. And it's funny that, like your barge is there and you just try to drill it so that it just sustain its life. Otherwise wheels get blocked and the barge is no more barge. It's just a piece of metal. So that was the idea, and I created whole sculpture where my sculpture will react to the heat of the metal. So it was melting, whole wax, it was made of wax and it was melting over 7 days.
Okay, no, like normally when an artist puts up his art or displays his artwork, there's a lot of thought process and the meaning behind the project, right? But when a person, a layman, comes across it, how is he supposed to look at the project? Because generally, like when you see something on the road and it's an installation and people, it looks pretty, they'll click a picture with it and that's it. But there's a lot of deep meaning behind it. So how does, how would you like a person who's viewing your artwork to kind of, interpret it?
First of all, in this case, it's actually, we have eyes, nose, ears. We have developed taste of nose, eyes, ears and mouth, right? But we believe that we have learned to see things and read from things from eyes, but it is not like that, because we are trained to see what we see and what we have put meanings, If I tell you to draw a landscape, what will you draw? Now what do you imagine out of it?
I would draw mountains and sunset.
Exactly, right? That's what I was supposed to tell you, But how that image comes to your mind? Have you ever in your childhood seen mountain, or that picture applicable to now also? Because I deal with such ideas of how to read images in my classrooms where I teach in college. So the basic, when I tell students to draw a scenery, all 50 students will draw the same thing. How can it be possible? Because each individual is separate, right? But it should not happen like that.
Exactly.
The landscape for you should vary, and the landscape, the person from the urban space should vary, right? They see a different kinds of houses every day. And we see nowadays there are no actually tile roofs, but people draw tile roof. It's actually basically, we are trained to rote learning, or copying stuff, and that's what art is for many people. Imitation is not an art actually, it's just a skill, and that's what we are trained in college first. And when I went for my master, that's what first thing I learned, and it it challenged me, like how I was perceiving images in my bachelor's and how I should react to the image, because I was not trained to read images. We are not trained to read images.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
We are trained to smell things. We know what is salt tastes like and what is sugar tastes like. What we hear, we know, right? But not in terms of eye. That's what the main problem with the art. And I think we should let children or let people read according to their own choices, or whatever they feel first. We judge first of all. If I say this is a first of all, if you see this sculpture, I might people might see from different cultural background as animal-headed human being, right? If they don't know mythology. So I feel, rather than telling them first only what it should be, it's like you should be ready to accept what they read first. Green color, if you see orange color, what comes to your mind? But that's what we do, we wanted to code it first. I think we should not code it first. We should let person derive whatever they wanted to derive first, and let them whatever it is, good, bad, is very subjective, So that's what we don't allow. That's why this problem arises. How to react to things, we don't know.
Okay, but art, like a lot of people have this thing, like why does this festival waste so much of money putting up installations here and there, it's the thing, like it's unnecessary. But why do you think is art important to a society,
this question arises because we most of the time believe in direct revenue, direct profit, or direct
immediate profits.
Immediate profit. We don't believe in indirect knowledge or indirect profits, that's what, if you see a festival like Serendipity, what they have been doing, whatever the reason may be, in last 4 editions. But in first edition, there was no, this word serendipity itself was very difficult to remember. If you go in rural areas, if you now you ask them do you know what is serendipity? Oh, that festival. That's what is enough actually, and by indirect ways you tend to at least exposed to a area which is not at least exposed. Over the period of time, even if 10 people start relating it to in their life, and you start learning to what they have seen, I think that's the purpose I feel. We should not believe in direct outcomes actually. Indirect outcomes are also important.
No, but say for example, people are not really exposed to art a lot, as in they don't expose themselves to art. They think it's something that only certain section of people should restrict to. But do you think that art should be a part of our life, like how technology has become to us, that art also should play a significant role in person's development?
Yeah, actually it should be and I also believe that, and that's what such kind of project actually tends to do in public domain, where artists have when you see historically how image of artist was perceived. How do you see if I tell you to imagine an artist?
Picasso or something like that.
Right? Those the person with the jhola and the kurta, right? But the artist has also evolved. Artist needs also have evolved. So artist also needs to change actually. Beyond painting, doing work for somebody's interior, or they need to find some in technology we see user friendliness, right? We need to also associate to user friendliness. I may not say user friendliness, but they need to enter into the space where at least it makes people to think. But public domain, I mean.
No, but speaking of technology, how does technology impact artwork? How do you use, and some few examples that you have experienced?
One of the major thing is if today's generation, the attention span, right? During our time 10 years back when I started having education in art, we were very skilled, Now there are Photoshop, and then there are a lot of softwares, so which gives you immediate effect of it. So people try to jump to the
direct.
the higher versions, you know. So I may not say you should do continuous labor job, but also skill development is very important. So motor skills you need to have. But nowadays, I don't know. I'm not cursing, demeaning technology. I am fan of technology though.
No, but does it really like impact, like a normal artist should be like very free with his thoughts and hands and words, but technology, can technology sometimes, you know, make an artist less artistic in a way?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we can't think like everybody should start with pen and pencil. They can do direct illustration on Photoshop, no, if you have skill. But then to develop skill, you need to have that pencil sketch. But some of the things you can actually do. You don't have to involve so much of labor in every part of life.
So, you know, coming back to the Serendipity Festival, like how did you really get exposed to this festival? Like when did you know, come out, and like how was your experience maybe last year around, like, you know, the last time you were here?
Yeah, it was pretty good in terms of diverse aspect they cover. It's not centric to only arts. It's they focus on theatre, music, and especially to the kind of projects they bring in. You know, the international projects, Indian projects, and from food to art, and how people think and how indigenous ways of dealing with or creative aspects of that is amazing actually to look at it. Even from traditional art to the technology, the range of things they actually expose to the audience here, it's amazing actually. That doesn't happen in all across India. It's, I guess, Goa and now in Kochi Biennial, Indian Biennial, which is happening. We are actually fortunate enough, you know, to have that.
And what about the exposure that, like, you know, artists get? Like, there's artists from all over that come down here, and like, you know, how is it, like, do you all interact, and like how is the ecosystem within the, you know, the curators, among the curators?
Yeah, I mean, the whole, I may not say whole Serendipity is open to all the like artists from Goa has access to it, and some of the parts they give open calls where you can apply. Like for example, I also applied actually, and I got a grant of it. So they do this part, and some of the things are actually curated by their curators in different fields. Some are directly invited for the Serendipity projects.
So, you know, we are running out of time, so like to close the, you know, this small conversation that we've been having, what would be your one message or advice, or like, you know, a small something to think about, like to people, artists who are trying to, you know, make their journey or start their journey in this field?
Yeah, it's tricky to give advice somebody because that may not be applicable to everyone. But one thing I can tell you my one example which I decided when I passed out from my masters. I knew that my practice won't give me enough of money because the kind of works which I was doing was not commercially viable, first of all. But I was believing in that. I think believing is very important, first of all, when it comes to pursuing it for a long period of time professionally, and also like occupation and professionally, like sometimes your skill or creativity may not be a profession because, you know, it has other variable also. The commerce is the part which is to do with all this industrial thing and what all things are involved in giving you back money, right? So that's a different ecosystem that you need to understand. So you cannot expect that whatever you do will give you money out of it. That's what I realized at my early masters. So I used to do my stuff, whatever was very in closed circuit. I used to apply for grants. And best thing is in today's time is like you don't have to be in Bombay, Delhi to get opportunity. There are a lot of opportunities online, and there are enough of opportunities. So you can sit here and practice you have to just constantly discipline yourself. Discipline is very important. Though most of in art sector people feel artist is very free and all that stuff, but discipline is very important, and keep consistency and apply for opportunities. and you have to be down to earth whenever you deal with such situations, and apply. At things, if things doesn't work that time, it doesn't mean it will not work further, but at least we will learn how to apply. That's very important, and that's what I've been learning. Still, I am not saying I am successful, but that's what it lacks. You know, you lose moral at some points because financially also.
Yeah.
So practicality also is very important when you pursue art. At the same time, how will you survive? Otherwise, if you believe in very romantic idea of art, in today's time it may not work. You know, art, because every industry or every area of or sector maybe have their own challenges, or it sometimes becomes political. Sometimes it is not at all democratic. Our world is not at all democratic. That's what I think everyone knows. You know, you need to find a balance of
everything. Yeah. Again, thank you so much for taking time out and talking with us. And it's been really interesting, conversing with you, like to get an artist's perspective of life and art. And, I mean, thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you so much for.
And also, our viewers, come out to Serendipity. See the stuff that is here. Try to understand. Try to use your own imagination. Like we just spoke to Mr. Vernekar. Like, come out, think. Find something fresh. Maybe you'll learn something new. So keep watching Goa 365.